The United States and 10 ASEAN countries have begun joint naval exercises in Southeast Asian waters, including the disputed South China Sea. The ASEAN-US Maritime Exercise (AUMX), jointly chaired by the US and Thailand, will last for 5 days and begin at the Sattahip Naval Base in Thailand and end in Singapore. 8 battleships, 4 planes and more than 1,000 personnel were involved in the inaugural edition of the exercise. In addition to Thailand and the US, participating countries include Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore and Vietnam. The military exercise was carried out amid disputes between a number of Southeast Asian countries and China, which have overlapping claims in the South China Sea, one of the busiest waters in Asia. The tension around the South China Sea is also global, after a number of Western countries have accused that China, which has built military facilities in these waters, is increasingly trying to be entrenched there. But these tensions are likely to be offset by ASEAN countries, some of whom have taken a softer approach to dealing with Beijing. China and ASEAN held a joint maritime exercise similar, the first of its kind. Led jointly by the United States and Thai navies, the exercise will stretch into international waters in Southeast Asia, including the Gulf of Thailand and the South China Sea, before ending in Singapore, the U.S. Navy's Indo-Pacific Fleet said in a statement. AUMX provides a multilateral platform for the United States to work with all ASEAN members on shared maritime security priorities in the region, added a written statement from the Asia-Pacific Media Hub for the U.S. Foreign Ministry, quoting U.S. Navy Admiral Joey Tinch. This exercise also continues the trend of increasing multilateral cooperation among navies in the Indo-Pacific. Networked areas are key to preventing aggression, maintaining stability and ensuring free access to the public domain. Beijing claims a large portion of the South China Sea, while the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Taiwan and Brunei have overlapping claims in these waters. The territorial waters are now home to China, the US, Japan, and several other Southeast Asian navies operating routinely. Neither Japan nor the US have claims in waters, but the two allies often declare their commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. Washington has stepped up its military movement in the South China Sea in recent days, sending naval destroyers within 22 nautical miles of 2 man-made islands controlled by China in the waterway on Wednesday last week. The 2 islands, Fiery Cross and Mischief Reefs, are home to military-grade airfields and other powerful weapons established and owned by China. Beijing condemned the move as an illegal attempt by Washington on maritime hegemony. Last Tuesday, the U.S. also sent 2 B-52 heavy bombers and 2 F-15C warplanes from the Andersen Air Force Base in the U.S. territory of Guam for training around the South China Sea and off the coast of Japan, said a spokesman for the U.S. Pacific Air Force told the Japan Times. Colin Coe, an international relations observer from S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies, Singapore, explained that the recent US-ASEAN military exercises are common, especially from an ASEAN perspective. ASEAN's old policy towards the involvement of major powers in their region is inclusiveness, not exclusivity, Coe said in the opinion column for the South China Morning Post. He also underlined that ASEAN and China also have a joint military training platform, which reinforces his argument about inclusiveness. In addition, there is nothing special about AUMX, although it is said to be the first US-ASEAN military exercise in Southeast Asia, especially including being close to the South China Sea. Each ASEAN member country has implemented a defense and security policy based on their national interests, and that is also related to their involvement with external parties, Coe said. From this perspective, the ASEAN-US Maritime Exercise (AUMX) is not the first multilateral exercise between Southeast Asia and the US as reported. The US has long carried out multilateral exercises with Southeast Asian countries. Co also considered that the scope of the maritime training, which might be limited not to conduct weapons trials or combat maneuvers, was anticipated and might no longer be a concern for Chinese military planners, who should have long been familiar with the presence and involvement of the U.S. military in security issues in Southeast Asia.